28 years later, The Bone Temple came out. I just watched it. It's really good. It's probably on the same level as the recent 28 years later, I'd say. However, it is very different from that first 28 years later. It picks up right from the ending of that first movie, pretty much. It's following the Jimmy cult and their violent adventures that they go on. Spike's now part of that. And we kind of get an interesting deep dive on this Jimmy character. This really this really fucked up individual who is able to go about his day in the world and has this really interesting presence of faith. Really, that's what the movie's about, faith and violence and the connection between those, really. We got a little bit of a hint of that in the first 28 years later, and I feel that this was a very interesting direction to take the movie, but I feel like a lot of it worked. So yeah, most of the main players are obviously out of the question. Jodie Comer is obviously not in the cast anymore, and surprisingly, Aaron Taylor Johnson was nowhere to be found in this film. So I'm assuming that's going to be kept for the third movie if that ends up happening, which I really hope it does, because I'm enjoying where this series is going. And I'd really like to see where the story goes, because it's a really good follow-up to something that I feel a lot of people thought was unnecessary to make a 28 Days Later sequel, but I feel like this, with how different it is, you really are able to watch this as a companion piece if you want to or if you don't want to. And you don't really have to feel like it's a major player in the story. This film does not have Danny Boyle behind the camera. It instead has Nia DaCosta, the director of The Marvels. Um, so there's that, but I'm happy to say that she does a really good job directing. The film looks really good, just like the last 28 years later. It's shot very well. The greenery is really pretty. And the greenery, I like how they use that in stark contrast with all of the violence and gore that's in the film. And I feel like the nature and the greenery in this film is used very well, because at the end of the day, the 28 Days Later, this franchise really, they're more so zombie movies about humanity more than anything. This film mixes humanity, faith, and the themes of violence that kind of go hand in hand to create a story like this, and I thought that that was really interesting. You see a lot of the scenes with Ian, the doctor character, and Samson, the alpha, with them interacting, and it was really interesting to watch those scenes, because it's not like there's action happening. It's not like a zombie action movie. It's a more humanizing take on it, and I find that very interesting. I really enjoy the doctor character, Ray Fiennes' character. He's really good in the movie. I love the way he looks. I love the way he acts, especially in the second half of the film, where he puts on the show for the cult. It's really, really good stuff. And the second half, I would say, is much better than the first half. It does take a little bit. Admittedly, it does take a little while to get going and get fully into what's going on, but I think once the second half hit, I was fully on board for what was happening, because the way this film leaves off is really good. It's a little bit of a cliffhanger, but where it ends up, like the main ending, there's kind of two endings. There's the ending with Jimmy's, all the Jimmys, everything goes down there, and then there's the Cillian Murphy cameo, which I really enjoyed. I thought that he was a nice addition. He didn't overstay his welcome, and if he's returning in the third one, then I'm very excited to see where that goes. However, I think the main standout ending is Jimmy's ending, where he's crucified upside down. I thought that addition to the story was great. It's a really satisfying end to the character. He's kind of a character built up with this twisted idea of faith and the church where he watched his father die and where the rage virus first spread in that first film. And you're able to see how much that truly affected him. And then once you have all of his masculinity and his tough nature just stripped away from him when he's crucified upside down, I just thought that the way that they took that ending was just great for his character. I will say, if I kind of had one nitpick, I think while the editing was serviceable in this film, I think the Danny Boyle-isms of the editing of that last film are really what made that film stand out a bit more. And it's not to say that there is any bad editing in the film. I just thought that it kind of lost the touch that Danny Boyle had Which, I mean, yeah, it's not surprising it's not directed by him, but if I were to complain about anything of that nature, then that's probably something I have to bring up just because it didn't really feel like a Danny Boyle film, which, I get it's not a Danny Boyle film. I'm just saying, if you want to keep consistency, then there's that to mention. But overall, I really enjoyed this film, and I think it's a solid 8 out of 10. If you liked what you saw, then hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you want to see more, then leave a comment down below. Thank you. Bye.